What's up guys, Jivan back with another video, and today I'm going to be letting you get inside my mind in some solo Cash Cup endgames. Basically every endgame I made it to, I was getting around a top 10. In this video I'm going to be telling you how I stayed so consistent, but we're also going to try to find the key moments that got me a top 10 rather than a first place. So I'll be stopping by at random points in these games. Don't forget to use code JivanTV if you've been liking the content, and without further ado, let's hop into it. So right here, I know that part of the zone is up a cliff and part of the zone is way at the bottom. So I want to land on a very upper layer so that I don't get scuffed underneath the cliff. It's key to note that I actually made this realization before the first moving zone even started to close. That way I knew where I was trying to end up at the end of the rotate. And then once I get into the zone here, I do the same exact thing for the next zone. I'm zoomed in on the map and I'm trying to look for elevation changes so I know where I need to end up. Right here, I definitely looted a little bit slow, and you can see that it actually ends up getting me a little bit scuffed here. As soon as I realize that I'm inching towards the back edge of zone, I should create a little more space for myself upwards and towards the zone so that I don't get shot out on my grapple like I did here. Gosh, keep sliding in storm. Now here is the key moment that sent me from getting a dub to not getting a dub. This may or may not be the dumbest one of the day. I just did not have my priorities set here. I was hesitating on what loot to pick up and I end up dropping my minis for splashes. I'm like, yeah dude, I need all the whites I can get here. But this is a really dead lobby and you don't need to be stacking whites like that unless you're in like an absolute stacker that could go to heal off. And then when I get weak, I'm like, shoot, I wish I had my minis, and I see loot in storm, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get those minis. But that just sets me way behind on this rotate and was a terrible decision. Like I said, probably the dumber mistake I've made in this tourney. The last mistake of this game was right here, where I grapple into the zone and land above this player. I should have gone low ground so I wasn't pinched between everyone on low ground and high ground. As soon as I landed there, high ground was so excited to just spray me till I died. Wow, bro. So this next game, we're actually not going to even watch the whole thing because I played this terribly. It's a miracle that I even got a top 10. There was one problem and I made it like 6 times this end game, and this is just like beginner stuff. Not sure what I was thinking, but every single rotate this game, I rotated way too late. My awareness of where the zone was just completely off. I was getting way too aggressive for kills and not focusing positioning enough. At the end of this game, I thought to myself, I was like, why did I keep getting sprayed at? And then I just immediately was like, well, I've rotated late like 17,000 times, so that probably is the reason. The other thing was I had so many opportunities to rotate early, but I was just like, I have grappled, there's no reason for me to rotate early. Wrong, and this is something I'm trying to take out of my head. It is okay to rotate by foot if you have grapple. A lot of the times I'm like, bro, I just need to grapple every single rotate if I have it, but there were so many opportunities where I had free sprint rotates. Don't miss out on those opportunities because not only can you get a free rotate, but you can also save your grapples. Key takeaways from that game: don't over prioritize the grapple and try not to over prioritize kills when you need to rotate. So yeah, I played that game really bad, but the next one's actually pretty good. I needed a good game here to have a chance to qual. So I scouted this rotate early, I marked where I wanted to go in zone, everything's looking good. I made sure that I had a safe grapple path and nobody was looking at me, that's something you should always do. But then when I'm grappling, I accidentally land on low ground. I was trying to land more elevated, but I choked. So what I did was just break through these low ground builds, and once I get out the other side, I tarp up at least one box. This gives me space to grapple my next zone, and I'm not grappling from ulti low ground. I choked here going for the metal. I really did not know I had cat metal. That's something to keep in mind too. I had used a good amount of brick here, but I haven't even used a little bit of metal. So then I missed out on that refresh opportunity right there. This right here is good. I noticed that right side is absolutely free, so I land over there and start to tarp up. But I saw that somebody had me cut off upwards, so I go to the side instead, and then immediately look back edge zone because I remembered I had somebody weak. So right here, you can tell that I start to get a little bit panicky. I gotta get in the habit of just like making a box, you know, chilling for a second. Reset, check my mats, check my heals, check everything. Take 2 seconds to breathe, make a plan, and get back in it. At the end here, I just took a bad route to get into the zone. I was honestly pretty set up to win this if I would have taken a better route. I knew there was a guy in that direction, but I mantled up anyway because I panicked. I had splash, I should have played it to get better positioning. If I did that, I probably would have won this game. Also, that guy was one shot to a pump, so if I would have hit my shot, you already know. This next game, I did a good job of wood tarping ahead a little bit just to test the waters and give myself some breathing space, but I didn't scout at the front of my wood tarp, so doing that wood tarp basically didn't do anything for me. If I would have been at the front of the tarp scouting a route for my grapple, I would have been much better off this game. My grapple route set me behind right away. The good news is I did remember to scout the map, so I knew we were going up terrain. So right here when I was trying to sprint rotate, for one, I sprint rotated straight down the center and I was burning a lot more mats than I needed to. All that I really needed to do was when I get up layers, create a box and scout my rotate. That would have saved me a lot of mats and I probably would have gotten in better positioning. But we get blessed with the God refresh here. At this point in time, I don't really know why I decided to go to low ground. It definitely was not the move. I should have waited in my box, waited for tarps to get creative, and then grapple off the tarps and stay around that layer that I was already on. Almost any direction it pulls is going to pull back up a cliff, so going low ground here was just scuffing me. I do have grapple though, so I can get back up, but either way, it's just not the move to go down. can't hit him, bro, when he's like that, man. GG's, that was a good game. I was so sad there, bro. I was so proud of myself for getting up the mountain, and then I died to that. Like, I don't know. It was a good game, though. That set me up on track to qual on West. But the problem was I was behind on games. There's one more end game we're going to check out from West, and this one was probably the most stacked game of the day. So far a big issue here is that I'm just wasting too many mats on this rotate. I gotta get more out of my sprint rotates. Like, I'll sprint for 2 boxes and then I'll stop. I should start to sprint for more like 4 or 5 and just build one build to block angles so I can keep going. And then on the grapples, I gotta make sure I'm getting as far as possible on those. I should still have like 1,000 mats, but I'm down to 500. Also, just staying ahead a bit more, just like we talked about earlier. So right here, I know the floor underneath me is not mine, so I'm making sure not to edit my cone. That way it gets as healthy as possible, and I'll have time to react if he goes for a spray down play. So at the end here, I'm playing a little bit too far on the back edge of low ground, and that gets me caught in a lot of these builds. Something I should have done is claim more of the front side and make sure I have a clear path forward, because eventually that comes back to bite me in the butt. I could have also looked to go up layers rather than being on this congested low ground. Something I like that I did this game, which I don't do often enough, is ratting through people's tarps. Even though I still had some mats, I still had 300 mats, but I went for a tarp play. This saved me a lot of materials moving forward, and if somebody was in that tarp, I would have had a kill opportunity. I don't know why I never think to do that until I'm out of mats, and a lot of times it gets you a kill. Anyways guys, that's all my thoughts on the recent solo cash cup. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, sub if you're new. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.